Hi guys, how are you? My name is One Titanium. Welcome back to IMMT and pure MMT for the 100%. So let's talk about this. Here we go. Mike Norman sitting here now saying that same thing that he's been saying for a while, that proof that taxes don't fund spending. All right, this is nonsense. And this is nothing personal against Mike in of himself, but it is a critique about his MMT. And in my view, it is not Warren Mosler's MMT. This is created MMT out of thin air. Okay, this is not, and I agree with a lot of the things he says. Okay, and a lot of things he says I don't agree with. So let's listen to Mike, and I'll explain to you why he's wrong. All right, so let's get started.
I mean, it's all over the place. And, I'm an MMT guy, and I say that it's not just that I say, but the reality is that taxes don't fund government spending.
All right there. Let's just stop right from the start. He's an MMT guy, but he says taxes don't fund spending. Well, this is wrong. This is wrong, and I'll tell you why Warren Mosler doesn't say fund, doesn't use the word fund. Okay, and I've said this in the past, and I'll tell you again. The word fund means that you have to go out and get it from somewhere. Okay, you're I don't know, the land is, you're going to cultivate the land and you're going to fund something, right? You're going to go out and get it from somewhere, right? As we know, as MMTers, dollars are printed from thin air, okay, and we don't need to go and find them to fund something, okay. So we're not revenue constrained. We can spend as much as we want, but that doesn't mean we don't have consequences. Okay. Now, it is extremely important that we understand that dollars are tax credits. Okay? They're tax credits. That's what they are. Because in order to value a currency, you need taxes. So the government spends first, right? It gives you the tax credits, and then it redeems them. But there's an important part that everybody needs to understand about valuing a currency. All right? So, let me get back on point. The word fund is not correct.
Government taxes people and firms for a variety of reasons, many of those reasons wrong. And I would say that most of our lawmakers and people in policy believe that taxes fund government spending, but they don't. And here is a very simple explanation or thought exercise. I want everyone who disagrees with me on my claim, which is a factual claim that taxes don't fund government spending.
Okay, that's not a factual statement. Okay, it's not factual. He can say it's factual. It's not factual. All right, and I'll show you why. Here is daily treasury statement, okay, from last year. You can see very clearly, okay, that it goes in the same account we're spending. This is deposits, and this is spending, okay? And the tax received, the federal tax deposits received is $2.48 trillion, okay? Now, we spend from this account. The government spends from this account. So you can't tell me that taxes are not accounted for by the government. They are, and they are spent back into circulation. These tax credits that are redeemed by the government are spent. So don't tell me it's factual that taxes don't fund government spending, and I shouldn't use the word fund, but you know what I'm saying in this context. And here you go. I think it was out of the picture. So here it goes. Cash federal tax deposits received. Okay? And then if you come all the way to the bottom here, table 4. Alright, here we go. Federal tax deposits. Federal tax deposits. There they go. So don't tell me taxes, they're not accounted for. That's nonsense. That's just nonsense. So let's continue.
I want you to think about this very hard and very deeply, all right? Because it is very logical, but you need to break away from your ideology, and you need to think about this. And it's not hard. You don't need a college education, okay?
Okay, that's degrading. Like, oh, you need a college education to figure this out because you're just stupid. I just showed you where tax credits go. Okay? I just showed it to you. And it's not an ideology, okay? And it's not that, you're somehow stupid, right? It's a fact. Taxes are redeemed by the government and accounted for. That is a fact.
So, here we go. All U.S. tax liabilities, at least at the federal level, all U.S. tax liabilities must be settled in U.S. dollars, okay? You cannot settle them in gold, you cannot settle them in yen, you cannot settle them in British pound, you cannot settle them in Canadian dollar, you cannot use any other currency or means of settlement other than U.S. dollars, all right? The only place where dollars come from is the U.S. government. Okay, so in other words, in order to pay your taxes, the government first must spend those dollars into existence. Okay.
All right, there you go. You must first spend it. Therefore, the moment they are spent, they have value. No, no, that's not the way it works, because I can show you very clear examples. You know what? Venezuela spends, okay, their currency into existence. What is the value of their currency? Crap. It's worth nothing. Why? Because there's no labor. Okay, it's not increasing the productivity of that economy. That's spending. So spending in of itself does not create value for the currency, nor does it make the economy bigger. Okay, it is the labor that the spending promotes a bigger economy. Right? You need labor. You have to understand that. You can spend as much money as you want, and you can tax as much as what you spend back, okay? But without the labor, there's no value in the currency. So this oversimplification, well, the government spends it first and then it taxes. There you go, it's done. That's the way it works. No, that's not the way it works. Okay, and I just showed it to you. The government redeems those tax credits, okay, and spends them in the future after they're valued. So here's the oversimplification, that let's take away the labor. Let's take it all away. Government spends it, taxes it, and now it has value. No, not the way it works. Sorry, it is the labor of people that have to go out and produce and create an economy that values the currency, and then and only then does the government tax back those dollars. You understand? You can't just spend and then tax and then boom, voila, you have an economy and you have a valued currency. No. Look at Zimbabwe. They were spending, right? Was there any labor behind it? No. There was a collapse of the productive output of that economy. So no matter how much you print or spend, right, you're not going to create an economy. And you can tax as much as you want, doesn't matter. That currency has no value. So let's go over this one more time. To have an economy, you need a buyer and you need a seller. Right? That's the first thing you need. You need a buyer and a seller. So the government has two roles to play. The first part is they are a buyer. Okay? They are buying highways, they're buying seaports, and they're buying bridges and airports. Why? So the private sector can be more efficient. They want to transport their goods from one place to another. They need trains, right? They need train tracks, right? The businessmen want to go flying to go do some meeting. Well, you need an airport, all right? That's what the government does. So it becomes a buyer, and then we, the people, the private sector, are sellers of our time, of our labor. Okay? So the act of spending doesn't create an economy. It is the spending plus the labor of people plus the taxes that are the second role of government, right? Tax collector. But when does it collect? Does it collect before there is labor? No. It taxes after the labor is complete. It pays after the labor is complete. You see? That's the way it works. And then those tax dollars go back onto the treasury right here, It comes right back. These taxes are right back here, and then the government spends it. You see? That's how it works. So you can see that the government spends those tax dollars back. Okay, so it's the tax dollars right here, okay, that it redeemed. Doesn't matter if they spend it first. You have to have somebody to work for it, to value it, right? So the buyer, the seller, they work for it, they tax it, and then it recycles back. Now, does that mean we're revenue constrained? No, we're not revenue constrained, because we already predetermined how much we're going to spend. Congress already said how much they're going to spend. So if you require an additional amount of tax credits, okay, that's the tax credits right in here. If you require more, then you just print up tax credits, and then these become net financial assets to the private sector. That means savings to you. Okay, this is the part, the net financial, the deficits are the net financial assets that go into savings. All right, but all of this, the taxes, plus the deficits go back into circulation. They go back to circulation. And then a portion of it is taxed back, and then they spend the next year, and then it goes back, and whatever. See? And any deficits become non-financial assets. This is so important, because this oversimplification that, oh, you know, we just spend first, and then we just tax it all back, and, you know, it's ludicrous. It doesn't work like that. The other ridiculous argument, well, you know, the taxes are destroyed. They're destroyed. Well, no, they're not destroyed. Because in the Clinton years, we ran surpluses. Surpluses of what? Of tax credits. But that means we were taxing more than we were spending. Okay? So if they were destroyed, that means there's nothing left. That's what destruction means, nothing left. Okay? So you have a surplus of nothing. Doesn't make sense. You cannot have a surplus of nothing that doesn't exist. It's just math. All right? That's the way it works. Clearly, taxes are redeemed and accounted for. Okay? And then they are spent. There's withdrawals. So don't say that taxes, you know, don't fund government spending. No, that's that's just insane. That's just ridiculous. This is factual. Okay? This is factual. Daily Treasury statement. This is factual. Not what Mike is saying. Let's continue.
Okay? You can't drain a swimming pool until you fill it up first. All right? If you're going to send your taxes, those dollars to the government, those dollars had to be created beforehand. They had to be spent into existence, and you accumulated them through your labor or your entrepreneurship or whatever.
There you go. See, he even says it. Well, it's through your labor that you have to accumulate them. Yes, exactly. That's the point. That is the point. Okay? So he knows it. But he's not, it's not, the neurons are not firing off in his head to connect the dots. Okay? Because he's not grasping the concept. He doesn't understand that taxes and labor and spending combined value a currency. Okay? The spending part doesn't make it valuable.
Then the government takes some of that back.
Yeah, after the labor.
And the main reason for taxation in a fiat currency system is that it imparts value to the currency. Since taxes must be paid, people need dollars to pay the taxes.
Yet again, it's not the taxation. It's not the taxation that values a currency. Okay, see, he's going from spending to taxation, and that's what values a currency. And completely, you know, even though he's saying it, he's omitting it. He's not emphasizing the part of labor, even though he's saying it. Okay. So it's all three. You need everything. You need the spending, you need the labor, and you need the taxation to value to value an economy and value a currency. All three.
And that imparts demand for the currency, because if you don't pay your taxes, bad things happen. Okay, they could seize your assets. They could put you in jail. I've said this before in previous videos. So just think about it from a point of logic. It's irrefutable. Okay, you cannot pay your taxes until the government spends the dollars into existence first.
See, again, well, you can't pay your taxes unless the government spends, as if the spending is what values the currency. You know, Venezuela, no, they spend, they tax. I don't see no value there, do you? Nope. See, he's missing the point.
And you accumulate some dollars and they take a little bit back, or they take some of it back. You cannot drain a swimming pool until you fill it up first. That would be like saying, for those of you who think that the taxes fund the spending, that would be like, you know, the water in my pool is what keeps my lawn green, but then you got to fill the pool up with water first. Where'd the water come from? The water in my pool is what keeps my yard green and flourishing. No, man. You got to fill the pool up first before you have the water. Come on. It's very, very simple, people. Think about it a little bit instead of just spewing out, oh, it's my taxes they're paying for. It's not. It's not.
See, come on, people, come on. Again, well, first of all, it's a bad analogy that somehow the pool is what keeps the grass. I don't know what he's talking about there. But again, you know, it is that somehow spending is the only thing that matters, you know, and then we tax it afterwards, and then, you know, taxing and spending is what creates the value. Nope, not the way it works. That somehow we don't account for those dollars, okay, that we redeem from taxes, and they just magically disappear, and we run surpluses of nothing. Doesn't make sense. Sorry. It's not factually true. What is factually true is that the taxes for the tax deposits are in the same account where spending comes from. That is factually true. Come on, guys. Come on, people. That's true. So, you know, he's wrong.
The dollars are pumped into the economy. We earn those dollars, you know, we accumulate them at different rates or magnitude depending on.
See, he says it. We earned them. Bravo. That's right. 100% right. We earned those dollars. And after we worked for those dollars and created that economy, right, that is when taxes come into play. So a good analogy that Edward Delzio uses, right? Okay, I create $100 billion. I create a battleship. I pay the government pays $100 billion to build the battleship. It taxes 100% of it back. Those dollars go back into government. Okay, is the battleship not there? Of course it's there. Okay, those tax dollars, okay, created that battleship. And now when it wants a second battleship, guess what? They're going to take those dollars that they spent into circulation, created value, created labor, created wages, taxed it back, that 100 billion, and now it's going to use that same 100 billion to go out and buy and create another battleship. So now we have two battleships, and then we tax 100% back on, you know, December 31st and spend it back on January 1st, and then guess what? Now you have two battleships. The economy is bigger. You see? So, where'd that money come from? Well, it came from government spending, labor, and taxation. What did that whole transaction do? That three-step process. What happened? Well, you have two battleships to show for it. You see? That's the way it works. So to say taxes don't fund spending is wrong. It's just wrong. Okay?
On our cleverness, our efforts, our wits,
yes,
whatever. You know, some accumulate more. A lot of people accumulate less. But then the government takes some back. It says you gotta pay some of it back, otherwise we're gonna do bad things to you. That's how it works. You can't keep your lawn green until you fill the pool up first. You got it? That's how it works. So really, you people out there who keep saying, you know, I'm wrong and MMT's a cult, and just stop for 5 minutes and think about it. Just stop and think about it. That's all you have to do. Bye.
There you go. Well, no one says that MMT is a cult. The real progressives are a cult, okay? Because these are people that just don't understand what they're talking about. They run around with little memes and they think they're smarter than everybody else, okay? And they think they have, you know, a right understanding of how MMT applies into the real world, and they don't. So they're a cult because they don't know what they're talking about, okay? And unfortunately, Mike is in the same boat now, right? Because he's saying the same nonsense. Okay, that it's just spending, you know, it's just filling up the pool. No, sorry. You need labor. You need taxation. Are we revenue constrained? No. Deficits are net financial assets. Savings to you. That is true. Okay, so don't go around saying taxes don't fund spending. That's just ridiculous. And I showed it to you on the daily treasury statement. Right? That's a fact. That is a fact. That's it for now. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.